Hi everyone. So in today's session, let us try to break down some of the common tips and tricks that you can use while designing your spaces in both residential and office spaces as per Feng Shui. We'll also later try to differentiate what are the differences and commonalities between Feng Shui and Vastu. So let's get started. Firstly, like I said, we'll touch upon what are the tips that you can actually incorporate, or what are those daily tips that you can incorporate into your residential spaces to make them feng shui, feng shui and harmonize the space. Firstly, what I would suggest is that make sure you declutter your space. If there's anything that is either rotten, or if you think there's a lot of things put in one space and you feel that's making the space very heavy, try to declutter it, try to make it free, try to make it more breathable. This is one of the best ways to just harmonize your space and bring in a lot of good energy into the space as well. Look into the kind of air quality and light quality into your house. By this I mean make sure there's enough ample amount of sunlight entering your house. Also there's enough number of air entering your house that is fresh breathable air, with either openings of the windows or doors, however you want, but make sure it is always going to be a light and an airy environment. The third thing that you'll have to look into is, when you learn Feng Shui in detail, you'll be able to learn something called as the Bagua map, or the directions that are associated with Feng Shui. Make sure the basic energy map is balanced in the space as per your Bagua map. The fourth thing that I want to let you guys know is the elements aspects. So again, when you learn in detail about the 5 elements of nature that are associated with Feng Shui, make sure these elements or the zones that are associated with these 5 elements are balanced out and there's good amount of energy flowing through the space. Next, in your door or your main door or your main gate, make sure there are no disturbances or obstructions. Make sure there's clean energy flow and circulation is good enough in these spaces. Next, make sure, in case if you do have a main entrance or a gate entrance, make sure to have an evil eye symbol or an item placed in the entrances of it, and make sure these entrances where you have hanged these evil eyes are not, it's not closed, it's visible, so that these can take in all the negative energies focused to your house. Make sure it's placed only in the entrance of your door or your main gate, that is the main door and the main gate. The next thing is that make sure the quality of entrance is good. When I mean that, if there's any pathways that is either very deflective and there are no straight pathways towards the entrance or leading to the entrance, this should be rectified. Make sure there's a direct linear entry into the space, or a decent entry enough where you don't have to go with any hazards to enter the space. So that is one thing that I would recommend. And the next thing I would say is, in your sleeping area, or that is your bedroom, make sure the entire room is very organized. So what I mean by that is there's good circulation. So if this is your bed space and you have bedside lamps over there, make sure these lamp tables, like bedside lamp tables, are decluttered. Make sure your wardrobes are decluttered and properly stored, all your clothes, and make sure there's enough circulation space around the bed as well. So creating and harmonizing a balance in your bedroom can also play a very important role in harmonizing your relationships aspect, because when you learn in detail, the bedroom best suited for a master bedroom is in the southwest, and this basically predominantly deals with relationships, either be it love, marriage, or any other sort. So this relationship balancing and harmonizing can be impacted by a good well detailed and more than well detailed, a well organized bedroom. The next thing that is very important is your stove area. So stove area basically falls in your fire element area. So make sure this area is clean, and make sure there are no wires or anything placed near it, or there's no anti-element like water elements placed in this zone, because stove or the fire area is one of the best places to either attract wealth or attract fame, and you don't want to destroy both. So these are just some things that you can keep in mind. And the next thing that I want to add is, while choosing your colors of your walls, like I said, in Feng Shui, color plays a very, very important role. So while you're going about choosing colors of your walls, make sure they are elemental friendly, that is, they balance out the 5 energies, and I also balance out the attributes associated with the Bagua map, or the zones on the Bagua map. So keeping these in mind, you can make sure your house can be Feng Shui compliant. Okay, these are just some of the general tips. We have a detailed session as well, teaching regarding what are the colors in which spaces and what are the elements associated to which spaces, in another session. Next, let us come into understanding general tips for harmonizing your space in as per Feng Shui in an office space. Same again, when you consider an office space, preferably here I would suggest you for an individual cabin area. So when you're doing Feng Shui, there are two areas where you'll consider. One is the entire Feng Shui that you do for an entire office area, and one is for a singular cabin for one individual. So when you're doing a Feng Shui, energizing a space for one cubicle, what I would say is declutter your entire office table. Make sure it's organized. Make sure you have things as per your reach and convenience, but make sure it's not messy. Okay, the second thing is that try to keep plants in these spaces, especially if you think that bamboo plants is something that you can manage and you can keep on your desk. You can definitely consider the stalks associated with the bamboo plants, and you can keep whichever bamboo plant is best suitable on your study or your office desk. Next, make sure there is no blocking wall in your cubicle or in your office. Make sure there's ample amount of light and air moving through your cubicle. If it is a closed cubicle, at least make sure if there's a window, lift the curtains, the blinders, whatever it is. Allow normal sunlight to enter the space, or even if there's no normal sunlight, make sure the lighting of the room is good enough that you don't even psychologically get affected by the kind of dull lighting or the ventilation aspects. I do understand that, keeping in mind most of the buildings here today do have an AC or a centralized AC conditioning, but if possible, try to make sure you get natural ventilation into the space if possible. The next thing that I want to know is try to keep relevant art in a spaces. When I mean art, there are a couple of paintings that are considered good to be kept as per Feng Shui. You can go about keeping those in your spaces to enhance the energies and make most out of it. These paintings can enhance growth, help career promotions, help advancements and opportunities. Couple of things. You can of course read more or explore more on your own for these, but these are some things that you can consider. Next, one more thing that I would suggest is that for those of you who have a work from home option, or those of you who have offices inside your home, make sure you have a space segregated as your personal space and your professional space. Do not club both of them, because not only as per Feng Shui, but psychologically also this can take a big toll, because most of the times you would require to be at home, and this can be very, very absorbing and very, very draining emotionally. So make sure you have spaces that are separated from your personal space and your actual office space in your house. Next, if you're having any office meetings or client meetings, make sure there's a back or a wall behind the stool that you have than having any other element, because the main focus would be on you even on a design perspective. So these are a couple of things that you can incorporate while designing your spaces as per Feng Shui. Simple tricks and tips that you can incorporate and make your spaces energized and harmonized. Now that you have been able to understand Feng Shui in detail and got a couple of tips and tricks that you can incorporate, answering another question that I received from most of you all is, what is the difference between Feng Shui and Vastu, and what are the commonalities between Feng Shui and Vastu? Keeping in mind that this was something that was circulated around, in today's session I would rather give my perspective of what I feel are the differences and commonalities than just give you a set differences and commonalities. So the differences, or let me start with the commonalities. The thing that I find common between Vastu and Feng Shui is that even though these have originated from different places, that is, one is from China and one is from India, these basically follow the 5 elements of nature, right? So these follow, and each of these 5 elements are associated with different zones. So in the Feng Shui, we call it as the Bagua map, which has 8 zones, and in Vastu we have something called as the directions of Vastu, or the zones of Vastu. There are ranging between 8 to 10 to 16 directions as well. So these are keeping in different schools of thought, but their application or the thought process of it is somewhat similar in terms of the elements and the zones. The next thing is, both of them play a very, very important role in terms of harmonizing a space, because irrespective of which you take, either Feng Shui or Vastu, the whole purpose is to make sure the energy is positively filled and you're making and reaping benefits in a positive manner. That is the whole point of both. Next, there are certain items that you can keep, or certain elements you can keep at certain zones in both Feng Shui and Vastu. They are different elements, but the purpose is for the same, to enhance its attributes and energies of the space. So that is something that you can consider. They also have something called as the yin and yang energy, which is also similar to Vastu Shastras, feminine and masculine energy, which is almost the same understanding and application of it. Next, let us come into the differences or understanding the differences of between Feng Shui and Vastu. Like I said, Vastu is something that is originated in India. Feng Shui was something that was originated in China. And another thing is that even though they have elements that are there, they have zones that are there, but the approaches of both as how it is implemented on site is a little varied. So this is something that is, in terms of the application process, is where you see majority of the changes or differences as per Feng Shui and Vastu. So this is just a brief introduction I can give you, because unless and until all of you know everything about Feng Shui and Vastu, I won't be able to give you a clear-cut idea in detail. But this is just a very quick logistic approach to helping you understand the differences of the same. So saying that, hope you had a great session learning the differences and also the quick tips and tricks. Thank you so much.